Hey guys, what's up? It's Dardan here, and I'm here to show you guys how Wielding now works. Since past week they fixed it, or like last week, and yeah, past week they did a few more updates with abilities, such as changing a few and adding a few new ones. So first up is Wielding. It finally got fixed in like 7-8 months or whenever the beta came out, and it works now as it should work. Firstly, it didn't really work because it never took the offhand weapon damage of base damage, I rather say, in accountant. So for normal abilities, like it only used 100% weapon damage instead of 115 total. So that now got fixed finally. So now you have way more effectiveness with dual wielding compared than before. Using a two-hander was way more effective since it did 50% more damage. So dual wielding now got fixed, and that means that Dragors are now officially the best weapons for everything basically. So let's just try them out then. If I click on this dummy, and I'm gonna use now Dismember, it does 304 damage. So if I use a maul, it should do less damage. And before the dueling fix, it did less damage because it never took that 50% offhand main damage, offhand weapon damage in accountant. So if I were to use Dismember again, it will do less damage than prior. It will do more damage. So that's finally fixed. This makes dual wielding now really good. And now the Dragor maces compared to the longswords or rapiers. So longswords and rapiers are basically totally the same. It doesn't matter which one you choose. I choose the longswords because I think they look cooler, and the rapier are stab and these are crush. But weakness doesn't really matter a lot since they are so accurate. So if I use now Dismember with my maul, it's gonna hit less than the with the longswords. And as you can see, that is less. So officially, dueling is better now. Well, at least the Dragozor, cause it doesn't matter if you use, let's say, chaotic rapiers compared to the maul. It's gonna do the same damage as well. So it's not saying dueling is better than two-hander, but just because Dragors are really good, and they don't have a Dragor two-hander sadly. So if I would use the maces, I did notice the damage is now slightly less. It was 304 now, it's 303 now, but that's like pretty much nothing. So to say what's the best dragon now, it's pretty much still the same because they all have the same DPS. Well, the mace have like slightly, but like it's nothing big at all. Like it's 1% less or less than 1%. So I do prefer the main hand mace just because it has that 9 prayer bonus and the other weapons don't have that. And sometimes you can also do an ability like a normal attack between abilities. So that's awesome. So that's why I do prefer the main hand mace and then like an offhand Drygor because it looks cool. So that's it for dual wielding. Dual wielding is fixed now, so you can use abilities such as Slaughter, which is now really good, and Assault, which does a lot of damage. Alright, so moving on to range now, they added two new abilities, which is the Dazing Shot, which basically, if it hits, it does 120% weapon damage, and the target is, or like the opponent is gonna have a 10% accuracy decrease, which isn't really much, so I'm just gonna use it now. And bam, it looks pretty cool, and it did 1400 damage, so it's not really all too special. It's just a basic ability with 5 seconds cooldown, so you can at least like get some better rotations with the range now. Alright, so the other one is the Needle Strike, which also hits 100 up to 120% weapon damage. It doesn't mean it's gonna always hit that. And it increases your critical chance by 10%, which also isn't really all too special, but I do love the animation for it. As you can see, it looks pretty cool. And yeah, I mean, the extra 10% critical increase isn't really much. So, like, the abilities aren't really that good, but they are basic ones, so it can help with your rotation to use, like, to constantly keep using abilities. So that's pretty cool that they at least, like, add some more abilities over time. Alright, moving on to magic now. They did a change to how dual wielding magic also works. We can now dual wield different spells, so that's pretty awesome. For example, I can have on my main hand Fire Search, and on my offhand I can have Water Search. So you basically just right click it, cast, and then set as main offhand. So I have now both fire surge and water surge. So if I click it, you're gonna see using those two spells. So that's pretty cool. It doesn't really have good use for now. Maybe in the future, if there are bosses that are like weak to steam spells, you could use this as a steam combination. So that's pretty cool. But moving to the new magic abilities, they added a few new ones. The first one being the concentrated blast, which basically hits 3 times and it does a lot of damage actually. So 420, 640, and 1000. So it's a pretty good one. Like the other ones, it has like 5 seconds cooldown as well. And this requires dual wielding. And with a staff, you can use a different ability. So it's the Sonic Wave. It's basically the same as the range one. It does up to 120% weapon damage. Oh, and your next attack will have 10% more accuracy. So it's not really that good, but it looks also pretty cool. Oh yeah, they also made a few changes to existing abilities such as unload for the range one. Instead of doing percentage of life points of the opponent, it's gonna do now 110 weapon damage percent every time, and each hit it gains 10% more damage. So I think it's better now since you always capped a hit, which is really annoying. So now you can deal more damage than previously. Well, it depends on how much life points it had, but usually the hits were capped, so I do think unload is now pretty good. Right, so for melee, they also did a few changes. Firstly, the flurry is changed to now a AoE ability, which we didn't have previously for dual wielding, so that's awesome. So now it hits targets in a 360 area, and if it misses one hit, then it's only for that one opponent. So as you can see, it just hit all the enemies around me, which is really awesome. But for 1 versus 1, Flurry did get nerfed, but it doesn't really matter that much since we didn't really have any AoE abilities for dual wielding. So having one is at least pretty good. So if you are surrounded with targets, like you can attack multiple of these and then use it, you do deal quite a lot of damage. As you can see, I just pretty much killed them all, but they have so little life points, they die too fast. So this build is really good for NPCs that have a bit more life points. So that's the Flurry one. Then Frenzy also got changed, but it's basically the same as Unload. Instead of doing a percentage of maximum life point damage, it's now 110%, and each time it hits 10% more. So also that is, I think, a bit better then. So that's it for the dual wielding changes and the ability changes. Alright guys, so I want to show you one more thing, or like 5 more things to be honest, which are the 5 new abilities that you get from the new quest, the World Wakes. So the melee one is the Balance Strike, and to be honest, this one is pretty bad currently. If you have less HP percentage than your opponent, you will hit him for a high damage, and you will also heal from it. But if you have more, you will get damage, and he will heal from it. So it's currently not good for PvM because the hits are capped, and you only heal like so little, and it does so little damage. So it's kind of waste of ability, but for PvP it might be good. But I mean, it's not really a good ability in general. So for the range one, it's actually pretty good. They added a sort of berserker type for range now, which is called the Death Swiftness. If I use it, I will become like there will be a tornado-ish cloud shroud of death, whatever, around me for 10 seconds. So let's just use it. And every damage I'll be doing in those 10 seconds, I will be doing for 50% more, which is awesome. And also that kind of bleeding ability that it's doing there is pretty cool. So that's actually a pretty good ability. I might be using it if I'm gonna use range somewhere. So that's pretty cool. It kinda is Berserk for range. Then we have the magic one, which is the same as the range one. It kinda does the same thing, which is the sunshine, and it's basically the same. It gives the 10% dismember as well. I mean 10 seconds, and it does the 50% more damage, and it can also stack with the what's it called again, metamorphosis. So you do 100% more weapon damage. So that's pretty cool. So I'll be maybe using those two abilities if Ranger Magic gets to use somewhere, because currently it's everywhere Drag Escape. So for the defense one, we got the Natural Instinct one, which is actually really good. If you use it in PvP, your target will lose their adrenaline and you will gain it. So that's really awesome. And if you're not in PvP, in PvM, then you will be gaining 200% adrenaline for each ability, which is pretty useful as you can gain ability adrenaline really fast. So you can use multiple combos, which is actually really good. This one is really good. Then we have the hit points one, which isn't really good. It heals you like the same as with rejuvenate, so 40% life points in total. So the new Gothic's blessing does the same, except you don't need a shield, and that's basically the only thing. And a butterfly appears, and somebody can kill the butterfly, so you will lose that healing ability then. So that's kind of bad. That's only for PvP though, or maybe in PvM as well. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm not gonna really use that one. So those five new abilities aren't really that awesome. There are a few good ones like the defense one and the magic and range, but that's about it. And yeah, that's for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be doing more of these videos as soon as they do more updates, so I can keep you guys posted, informed on how the combat is going, like the changes, what is good or what is not. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.